I will talk about different aspects of this particular walkthrough. So for a given brand, and we will talk about Mensa brands, which is one of the largest, brand aggregators, around 30 to 40 brands, and we'll specifically focus first on their web app use case as to, using that web app and what was the life before Omnivio and what life is after Omnivio. And it will focus on the entire monitoring cloud, which basically sends out actionable insights and alerts on WhatsApp groups or Slack channels or emails, both to internal stakeholders as well as external stakeholders. Before I jump into that, Mensa's operation stack is that on the warehousing, so they have all the brand checkouts on Shopify. So that is where the order journey starts. Then they are using two major warehousing management systems. 50% of the brands are on Unicommerce. Remaining 50% brands are on Ingress. And in terms of shipping, they are using ShipRocket not as the end-to-end 4PL, but as a aggregator tech, so that all courier integrations are through ShipRocket, but they have the rate contracts and direct coordination with all the major couriers. So that is their operation stack. And then a part of their first mile supply chain and B2B supply chain is being run on Google Sheets, because all the transporter abilities and LRs, etc., or whatever tracking information that they get from the B2B transporters are getting captured on the G Sheets. So this is their overall, state of the art. And in the life before Omnivio, they basically have a 12 to 14 member team, operations team, which actually used to go to logins of 36 brands. First, Uniware logins to download warehousing information for each brand. Then ShipRocket logins to get shipping information. And sometimes to triangulate data, they used to also go to courier systems and also to Shopify to complete the entire order record and order journey. As you can understand, it is not scalable. Lots of management time and bandwidth goes in actually, collating this data, cleaning it up, very accurate also, and very reactive way of running a supply chain. So that is the life pre-Omnivio. Now I'll show you, just move to this tab. This is I've logged in already. So this is their summary web app where they track all the brands in terms of how the orders and all the supply chain SLAs are looking like. So at I think the top 10 brands in terms of business are typically displayed on this, and you can definitely it's like a drag drop, and like you can look at multiple levels of summaries. So in terms of order to ship to deliver, this is the last 30 days of this current month's data in terms of number of orders. And then moving on, like at a summary level, they look at their performance by zone, like zone A, zone B, like what is the typical nomenclature in Indian courier network. Then they look at their high-level brand salience, breach and non-breach metrics, courier salience, regional utilization, how much of their shipments are getting shipped near or local versus how much are shipping across India, and other surface, air, payment mode, etc., etc. So courier perform high level ship to deliver, and then state wise, city wise, and all these all these visualizations, these are all custom. They are like 50-70 KPIs which are already ready out of the box when somebody deploys this software. But in terms of creating their own views and visualizations, we have both kind of products. We can create more visualizations as and when they require, or if they want to play with their own data, we also enable that in a product use case, which I'll talk about later. So this is a summary view, and then of course they want to dig deep. They have their own performance view, the way they look at performance in terms of let it come up a bit, in terms of origin, destination, shares, brand wise, regional utilization by month, trends. So this is like their first level summary, level summary, all those KPIs. And again, you can go further deeper in terms of look at open shipments in the network again, and all these data sets are in as real time as the tech stacks APIs providers. So if it is an hourly refresh or it's a real time webhook hit, we consume that information and clean it up and model it and visualize it. So all that data pipelines are all real time here. So you can look at all that shipment statuses by different aging, different the return legs, which couriers are actually having more shipments. So you understand the drill that any supply chain guy will want to look at multiples of those cuts. Similarly, pending to pick in warehouse, in transit summary, in transit performance, undelivered, pickup performance, RTO. So, and then they have a separate warehousing focus dashboard which talks about warehousing productivity, picking efficiencies, pick list, etc., etc. So the point is, the real problem that Omnivio is solving here is first pulling all data in real time together, and then after that you can slice dice on a collaborative tool, which is this web app. And this is out of the box. Now I'll show you for a use case. Suppose you are a power user, Shobit, and you say that okay, fine, 50-70 KPIs are great, but I want to do some ad hoc analysis. But I don't want to do it on Microsoft Excel or in an offline environment. I want to do it on this one. I want to do it on a collaborative real-time data set without doing the queries. So this is how a login panel will look like. You just log into this, and you will basically. So let me just load a few. So let us go to a demo workspace. So we'll give you this kind of an access. You go to your workspace, and you will start just like on the Google Sheet environment. The first thing that you get is the data sets. Data is where you actually have all the data. I would think probably shipping data is. Let us just take like date range tables or some of the data which is all linked. So all these data sets are all in real time, and all the data, all the visualization creation happens on top of this data table. So this is basically, all the information that is coming from API is all getting, pulled here. In this demo workspace, you have like 46,000 orders, all getting updated real time. In Mensa's this thing, it can be like 5 lakh orders, 10 lakh orders, all historical information from order to delivery journey, so that you don't have to join the data. It is all pre-linked, pre-joined, and then on top of that you can create your own views. So this is the data table, and then you can just like maybe you can see anybody can create any number of analysis, and then you can of course trigger some alerts and insights from this on emails. Those emails can go to your internal stakeholders. They can also be just like NDR reports or any recon report which goes to external stakeholders can also be triggered from here. So the power users can continue to work on this platform, while the people who are just consumers of information, they can look at the web app. So this is a second product use case. I'll take a pause. Otherwise, I can just complete the third feature set, which is around alerts and insights.
Got it. Sidharth, I had 4 questions. I was just noting down the questions. I could ask them at this stage. So, number one, garbage in, garbage out, right? So, if a client is working with a transporter, for example, somebody could offer out for delivery as OFD, somebody could deliver, I think DTDC uses door delivery, or somebody else uses our courier, Blue Dart uses courier as courier will hand it over to you soon. Is there, would you need to go courier by courier to kind of make sense out of these different nomenclature of the same activity, or how do you clean that up?
All right. So this is absolutely fantastic question, Sobit. So you know that every courier has their own process and they have their own nomenclature. I think all that heavy lifting in terms of data modeling is what we do. We have created standardized data models covering warehousing, covering shipping, and then B2B transportation. And then we look at the data, the nomenclature of all the major providers, ShipRocket, as well as directly couriers, and map those 30, 50, 70, 80 statuses onto certain master statuses. So it can be in transit or OFP or pick, whatever every different courier calls it. And that is that secret sauce, as you rightly pointed out, is a supply chain insight, because anybody can create a data pipeline, but then it becomes a very custom data pipeline. We want to standardize it for a vertical, which is omni-channel retail. So that is, we take care of that. we basically do that heavy lifting so that whenever a client onboards to us, they get standardized statuses. So, and it's all done in real time. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. My second question was, I remember this from Snapdeal days. Uh,
Mhm.
if we enable Tableau to consume all this data,
Yeah.
uh, can Tableau not serve the purpose?
So you're right. So the problem is there are three parts of the problem, and the problem that we are picking is data extraction, transformation, and loading. Visualization, which can be Tableau, it can be Zoho, it can be Metabase, it can be Microsoft Excel, online, what have you. That's not the problem that we are not trying to solve. We are trying to solve a data extraction and transformation as the first problem.
Uh,
So, right, it can like as I talked about this particular, data table. This is kind of can be visualized on Zoho also, right? So
right.
that's one part. Second is if you want that internally you use Tableau and you just want clean data real time getting plugged into Tableau, we can provide you API access. So all right, so that is our build is that those data pipelines. After that visualization, of course, some people want end-to-end product. We give them a web app with some our own internal visualization tool. People want power access, or people want some only API data, clean API data flowing to their visual tools. Like Misho, in our case, uses Metabase. We send it to them there. In
Understood.
case of Mensa, they are not. So hence, we are giving them the full suite. But yeah, Tableau or anything, we are agnostic to the visualization tool.
Understood. Got it. Perfect. My third question was, as you mentioned, for Mensa brands, there were 15 people doing this task earlier
Yes.
in the pre-Omnivio world.
Yeah.
Now, given the cost of manpower in India, would you always have to justify the rationale of Omnivio against manpower involved in pulling out this MIS or this intelligence?
So no. Short answer is no. A manpower arbitrage is our first, pricing and entry pricing model that if somebody asks us like what is why should we pay you even 50,000 rupees for a mid market brand which does 50,000 orders a day, we
Yeah.
simply say that any data analyst or a data engineer will cost slightly more than what Omnivio is, and we give you a lot more features. So that is our foot into the door. And but the real value capture happens in actually creating value in terms of performance improvement, rate card optimizations,
Yeah.
entire cost analytics, recon analytics. You know the drill. So
Right.
the manpower arbitrage or the data warehousing arbitrage gets us in the room, but
Hmm.
we stay in the room long enough because of the real outcomes that we create in terms of having more control on SLAs, freeing up the bandwidth to focus on real supply chain problems, that rather than people spending half day in creating data, please you can use that time to run an excellence project, or you can use the same team to run a larger business, all those things, etc., etc. And then the cost, etc., elements, like most of the brands we have seen 2 to 3 major impact on their overall supply chain metrics. First is 10 to 15% reduction in NDRs, right?
Mhm.
So, second is 25 to 30% reduction in their O2D, because of the very, very small things, like because you have seen that even just sending out a pick to deliver report or ship to pick report at regular frequency,
Yeah.
people miss connections, and that just shaves off one day on the O2D
Yeah.
across India. And then similarly, people see some 10 to 15% cost improvement just by looking at their cost at a regular intervals,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
will take a lot of time, and post facto analysis. So those things keep us in the room long enough, and then after that you start becoming a system of record, because you have that entire end-to-end order information for more than 3 months, 6 months. People can leave the organization, but Omnivio is where things start getting standardized around. So
Perfect.
that is the long-term, value
Got
creation.
it. And I could be jumping the gun here, but
Yes, please.
wanted to ask a fourth question because Vishal had shared the deck with me in advance.
Yeah,
As part of your revenue, calculation, you had mentioned that it could be on a per order basis as well. Now, by
yeah,
my understanding, usually a SaaS or any other software gets entitled to charge on a per order basis when it is being used at an order level, right? Like
yeah.
maybe Unicommerce or Farai or Locus for that
Yes,
example.
yeah.
Being a control tower, do you think you'll be able to pull off that kind of a revenue model with the clients on a per order basis?
So look, till 12 customer basis, like right now we have 12 customers and 2, 3 enterprises. We are able to pull that transaction-based revenue model because and the way we think. So there are two parts. First is how we think about pricing. In this case, we know that any intelligence software and intelligence and alerting software. So those are transaction softwares that you have talked about. Any intelligence or alerting software which looks at end-to-end order journey and costs around it, people tend to spend close to 1 to 1.5% of their overall supply chain cost on internal MIS or intelligence team. Like that's our historical understanding, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then using that thinking, whenever we talk to an enterprise or a mid-market, we have standardized that typically 50,000 rupees as a minimum subscription per month for a mid-market brand like Super Tails or Setu Nutrition or Mokobara works because and up to maybe 25,000 orders a month. So they are happy to pay 2 rupees, 3 rupees in the beginning, and then they standardize to 1 rupee. And if you work with a client like Mensa or Misho, who are doing lakhs of orders, they give you up to 2 lakh rupees of minimum guarantee up to 2 lakh orders because they also think that, okay, they have to justify that 1% cost. And above that, it's a volume-based discount. At least we are able to pull off 5 lakh orders per month kind of pricing at this 1% rate with Mensas and Mishos. And actually, we looked at, very large scale systems like Amazons and everyone. Eventually, it starts standardizing at around 1%. So any, scale supply chain leader, like y'all, they kind of understand that what's the ROI. So that ROI discussions are reasonably straightforward till date.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it, Sidharth. Well, thanks for that. Yeah. I mean,
sure. All right. So now with these two parts in terms of, the first two aspects on term data pipelines and visualizations, I'll just show you some real-time use cases in terms of how the control tower works at an alerts basis. So exposing some part of the WhatsApp web, that personal numbers, but right now early stage, so everything is kind of mixed. So let us look at the shipping control tower group for a Mensa brands. Let me know if you can see this. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So this particular WhatsApp group has some team members from our teams, Mensa teams, and Omnivio control tower bot. So an Omnivio control tower bot is basically a crawler that runs on top of any visualization layer, as well as our own control towers. And we first standardize with them that what alerts and at what frequency that they want. And these are all customizable. So in this case, their teams have asked that they want to look at these 4 to 5 data cuts 3 times a day. It goes at 12 noon. Then I think it gets at 3, and then sometimes early morning or late evening, and that is customizable. It is auto triggered from the control tower to. So I'll just show you how it looks. This is exactly, what an MIS team does currently. The workflow is people take screenshots and send it. We're just automating that entire workflow.
Got it.
So this is what they want to look 3 times a day. And so I'll just show you quickly. This is all from the bot. And second is, they also want the raw data relevant to this particular time slot. So suppose they want the dependency summary for across their warehouses for today at 3 a.m. or 12 p.m. They can just click this link, and a CSV gets downloaded on their handheld or like my mobile phone. And then they just look at the data here. These are the areas where I need to call my warehouse guy or my shipping guy that this is where things are going wrong. That's it. And we can create these groups and create those hierarchies. So this is a central group. They, like in the case of certain logistics providers with whom we are working, they want the control tower at center level, that there is a north center, there is a south center, etc., etc. And then in the case of companies like Supertails, they want a warehousing group, they want a shipping group. So whatever is the hierarchy, once the hierarchy has been decided and the alerts are decided, they can be triggered multiple times a day, 24/7. The person dependency in terms of sending out the relevant data and supply chain, how intense it can get. Like sometimes people don't want to look at information. Sometimes people just want it like very, very quick, depending on it's a peak day sale or things like that. So we send that out, and it can be sent on email. It can be sent on Slack. Now we are getting to clients who want it on, this one, what used to say. I'm forgetting another chat platform, Microsoft Teams also, and a couple of other places. So that is the monitoring cloud that we're building. So this is broadly it, Sobit. This is a current
On
version
this
of.
one, just Siddharth, a quick question.
Yeah,
Customize. So, for example, if I want to look at O2S alerts, only O2S would come. If I want to look at SOD, then only SOD would come. Could I
yeah.
also configure alerts to the level of saying that, hey, if my
Yes, yes. I
LED
can.
alert performance dips below 2 days of S2D, then I need to know.
Yeah. So we are also creating those alerts. Absolutely, that escalation level is alerts that
Yeah.
your center teams only want to look at their those alerts at 3 times a day, but you probably want to see an alert that if a center has been suboptimal for 2-3 days or whatever, it can be triggered or bubbled up to you. Yeah, we are also creating those alerts and hierarchies. So that is a separate entire product suite that is getting built.